Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. After a short break, I decided to rebrand the channel and come in from a different perspective, a more grounded perspective. And I'll still be sharing insights from a coaching perspective and a God-based perspective, but I'm going to be becoming more real life challenges that we all face on a day-to-day basis. So I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I drop new content. Because going forward on this channel, I will be sharing with you value and insights that will inspire you to live your life to its true and fullest purpose. That will be the aim and the goal of this channel going forward, as we are going to be focusing on doing things God's way. Okay, so today on the very first insight, I want to remind you that, we all go through challenges in life. We all go through storms in life. And for the greater part, for the bigger part, as much as we know we have a Heavenly Father that is always there for us and is always working all things for our good, we always try to do things in our own strength and in our own perspective and in our own thinking and understanding. And I want to share a very personal story with you to give you some relevance and understanding of how God actually moves in your life when you totally release, let go, and let Him steer the wheel of your life and taking this vehicle called life in the direction that He actually planned for you. You see, I'm going to take you back to December 2015, January 2016. Well, actually more January 2016. Myself and my family back then, I was still married. We had just spent a holiday or vacation down in Port Elizabeth, and we were on our way back to Kimberley from that particular vacation. I mean, that was arguably one of the best family vacations that we had. And on our way back, we decided to take the back roads. So my wife or ex-wife fell asleep sitting next to me in the passenger seat, and my daughters were asleep in the back seat. It had been raining that particular day, so on this particular road that we were traveling, the road transitioned from a tar road to a sand road, which kind of like agitated me because, I just wanted to get home. I was tired and it was a long distance to travel. At one point, I got so tired and so frustrated of traveling on this, what seemed like a never-ending sand road. I started accelerating the car. I started going much faster than what I'm supposed to. And I knew fully well that you do not speed up on a sand road. But in that moment, sadly and embarrassingly, I just didn't care. I just wanted to get off the sand road and back onto a tar road. And at one point, the car started just veering out of control. I could feel that I had no control over this car. It wasn't spinning randomly, but I could feel it sliding across the road and moving towards the edge of the road. And along the entire distance of that sand road, there was a trench. On both sides of the road, there was trenches running. And I could see the car moving towards that trench with pace. And no matter how hard I tried to steer the car back onto the road, I just couldn't get it back into the middle or anywhere away from the side of the road. And I just remember, looking at my ex-wife and looking at my kids in the mirror, and that feeling of total helplessness. I mean, I'm supposed to be the father, the protector of my family. And there was absolutely nothing that I could do in that moment to stop this car from veering to the side of the road and ultimately into the ditch. And I knew that if we hit that ditch, I was the only one wearing a seatbelt at that particular moment in time as we were driving. So I knew the consequences of what would happen if we would roll into that ditch. And in that moment of total helplessness, of total despair, I let go of the steering wheel and I just said, Lord, I can't do this. And within a matter of seconds, the car just all by itself started veering back from the edge of the road back into the center of the road. And I grabbed that steering wheel so tightly and so fervently and so relieved at the same time. I was just like feeling like a rush of emotions going through me at once. And that moment I just looked up and I just said, thank you. My ex-wife woke up, she looked at me like startled and amazed. She didn't realize how close we actually came to dying that particular day. But this is what I want to share with you with regards to that whole incident, When your life is spiraling out of control, when everything just doesn't want to go the way you want it to go, sometimes you just need to release, let go, and trust God. Okay, so King David is one of my favorite characters in the Bible. I mean, he lived really what we can only call a controversial life, but nonetheless, in one of his Psalms, in Psalm 32 verse 8, and I just want to read it for you quickly, it says, I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Now, the reason why I'm reading that particular Psalm is because it speaks to exactly what I'm sharing with you with regards to this particular insight. Like I said, sometimes it feels like our lives are just spiraling out of control. Like that particular car was like spiraling out of control. I was wrestling to get it back onto the road, but I couldn't, no matter how hard I tried. And sometimes you might feel that there are things that you, as much as you try to get through to that rebellious child, or as much as you're trying to show your employer that you are the right person for the position, but you keep getting overlooked, or as much as you're dealing with difficulties in your marriages and things just don't want to come right. I want to encourage you, when you get to that point where you just feel like hopelessness and you feel like giving up, that is the time when you actually need to release and to let go, because that is when you're going to experience the true peace of God. And that is why God is saying, I will instruct you, I will teach you the way you should go. But you need to learn to release and give it up to me. And, sometimes it's hard for us to understand and to believe that God is always in control, because we have this idea and this understanding that we need to figure this out, we need to sort this out. But we don't, We need to just trust and believe. Okay, so I want to share with you 3 aspects or 3 learnings that I got from that particular scripture that really helps me when I'm going through difficulties, going through challenges, and I'm trying to do it on my own. And, when I look at that verse, I break it down in this way. The first part says that I will instruct you. And that tells me that I need to listen to God's instructions, because God is constantly speaking to me. But unless I open myself up to listen, I will never be able to hear and receive from Him. The second part tells me that, and teach you the way you should go. I need to open myself up to receive from God. I need to be aware of His presence, because He is teaching me and He's guiding me. But unless I open myself up to His teaching, I can never receive the learning. And that is something that I really battled with for the longest time. But I'm getting it right. And the last part there is, He says, I will guide you with my eye. I really love that part, because, God tells me that He's seen my past, He sees my present, and He's seen my future as well. So He knows exactly where I am and where I need to go. But I think the greatest challenge for me, and possibly for you as well, would be to have the boldness, the courage to take the action. That is where I got stuck for the biggest part of my life. And I hope that maybe if you're getting stuck there right now, you will also have that clarity that you get from this particular verse to really take action with your life. If I didn't release that steering wheel, if I didn't give it all up in that moment, I wouldn't be sitting here today making this video. And that's what taking action sometimes comes down to. We might not understand in the moment why we need to do something, but we need to trust. That is why we need to listen and be open to receiving from God consistently. So I hope that, you catch this particular value. And you might be saying there to yourself, okay, I hear what you are saying and I understand what you are saying. You've highlighted the fact that sometimes when you're trying to speak to a rebellious child or trying to get that promotion at work, you don't always get it and you run into these walls and what feels like obstacles. But how does all of that relate to my particular challenge? How does what you've just shared here now help me in terms of my day-to-day living, in terms of my day-to-day walk? Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have the answers to every challenge that we have in life, but I can tell you this: when you surrender, when you give up trying to fix everything in your life and you just say, Lord, you are in control. Father, I don't have the money in my bank account. I don't have the food in my cupboards, but you are in control. You are handling the situation. Lord, I am battling to get through to my child because she's going through a brooding teenager stage. And I think because we got divorced, it is impacting our relationship. But I know that you are in control. It doesn't matter what you are going through. When you surrender all control over to the Lord and you trust Him, and like it says in Romans 8 verse 28, He will work all things together for your good. And I want to encourage you with that. Okay, so I hope that you got value from this insight. I hope that you got an understanding about, the importance of releasing, letting go and letting God. Because it's in these challenges, in these storms, when we release and when we trust, that God moves magnificently in our lives. That is why it says we need to go through a test in order to deliver the testimony. Okay, like I said, I hope you got value from this insight. I hope that you grasped the understanding of all of this. If you did take value from this, please do share it with the next person, pay it forward as well. Like I said, if you haven't yet, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. I would love to impact you with more insights going forward. For now, thank you very much for joining me for another insight. This is Vinnie Mac saying, change your thinking, change your world.